The future of military aviation promises to be truly exciting with the emergence of a new beacon of American technological power, the sixth-generation fighter, being created as part of the next-generation air dominance program. In the context of a growing arms race, this aircraft will not only be a work of corrected mistakes from previous generations, but also a tough U.S. response to a serious challenge in the face of Chinese hypersonic missiles. China's latest hypersonic missile, the DF-27, could reach Hawaii, bypass U.S. missile defenses and threaten its aircraft carrier fleets, leaving America with limited options to assist Taiwan in the event of a Chinese invasion. At least that's what Chinese researchers said in their reports in 2023. But jokes aside, geopolitical opponents are not happy about them having a Wunderwaffe up their sleeves. After all, it's unlikely that the PRC's missiles will succumb to systems originally from the 1980s, as was previously the case with the much-hyped hypersonic Russian Kinzhals, which lost to the American Patriot complexes in Ukraine. On February 25, 2023, China tested the DF-27, during which it flew 1,300 miles in 12 minutes at an average speed of Mach 8.6. According to the U.S. Department of Defense, the DF-27 has a range of 3,106 to 4,970 miles. It can hit any target in East or Southeast Asia and large parts of the Pacific Ocean, including Guam. In addition to its increased range, the new missile has hypersonic glide capabilities. This means it can maneuver to evade U.S. and Allied missile defense systems, making it even more dangerous. At the same time, the United States, once a leader in hypersonic technology, has been too focused on counterterrorism and counterinsurgency efforts during nearly 2 decades of combat operations, and its hypersonic programs have been stalled for some time. And although America does not currently have hypersonic missiles in its arsenal, a number of programs are in active development under the leadership of Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, and other eminent defense contractors. This is where NGAD comes into play. The NGAD program emerged from a 2013 DARPA study called the Air Dominance Initiative, which aimed to create the X-plane by combining existing concepts from both the Air Force and the U.S. Navy. True, the idea of joint development of the aircraft was abandoned almost immediately, thus deciding to avoid any compromises when creating a sixth-generation fighter. As a result, America has not one, but 2 contenders, NGAD for the Air Force and FA-XX for the Navy. The former are doing their best to promote stealth technology, calling it fundamental for their aircraft. The latter are firmly convinced that the new fighter should not sacrifice speed and payload for the sake of its survivability. But both services agree on the use of artificial intelligence as a co-pilot on board the NGAD and FA-XX, as well as the latest range of weapons, PNT, positioning, navigation, and timing, and advanced communications capabilities that allow huge amounts of data to be moved between aircraft U.S. Air Force and Navy. The center of the future NGAD family of systems will be the Penetrating Counter, AIR, PCA, the latest fighter supported by Collaborative Combat Aircrafts, CCA, a swarm of drones in the role of loyal wingmen, through manned-unmanned teaming, MUM-T. This approach would greatly relieve pilots, laying the foundation for the idea of a single system in which hundreds of UAVs act as force multipliers for military aircraft, expanding their capabilities and protecting pilots during dogfights. The Air Force intends to develop both a long-range version of the fighter for operations in the Indo-Pacific region and a more local version aimed at European theaters of operations. The creation of NGAD led to many other innovative programs. For example, the Adaptive Engine Transition Program, AETP, and Next Generation Adaptive Propulsion, NGAP, under the auspices of which leading defense companies are creating new engines with an adaptive cycle. In 2022, it became known that 5 companies, General Electric, Pratt & Whitney, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and Northrop Grumman, all signed a 10-year contract with the U.S. Air Force worth $975 million each under the NGAP program. As for AETP, Even before the introduction of the sixth generation, they intend to equip the F-35 Lightning II with such engines needed in order to break them in and identify weak points before their debut at NGAD. According to Aviation Week in Space Technology, the creation of the perfect fighter will be entrusted to one of the three main contenders, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and Northrop Grumman, which recently rolled out its advanced stealth bomber B-21 Raider, the successor to the legendary B-2 Spirit. The participation of this trio makes the competition for the right to NGAD one of the largest in recent decades. Let's recall that in 1991, Lockheed Martin won the right to create the F-22 Raptor from Northrop Grumman, and another 10 years later, it defended the right to develop the F-35 Lightning II in a confrontation with Boeing. Therefore, many are convinced that Lockheed will get the main aircraft order of the decade this time too. However, in the spring of 2023, Secretary of State Frank Kendall said that he did not intend to repeat the mistake made by the authorities during the F-35 program. Namely, the refusal to obtain rights to all fighter maintenance data from the contractor Lockheed Martin. When the F-35 program began more than 20 years ago, the Air Force was guided by an acquisition philosophy known as total system performance, Kendall said. Under this approach, the contractor who wins the program will own it for its entire life cycle, thereby becoming a perpetual monopoly. Now, the Secretary of State wants the government to have much more control over the program under NGAD than it had with the F-35. The Air Force will ensure that manufacturers and subcontractors use a modular, open system design, which Kendall said will allow the service to attract even more new vendors looking to modernize different parts of the system. To put it all simply, the Air Force intends to make NGAD less monopolized, emphasizing modularity and the ability of the device to introduce even greater volumes of innovative technologies than the F-35 and its predecessor, the F-22 Raptor, which has become something of a holy grail for the United States, which refused to share its internals even with its allies. But the price of one sixth-generation tail will probably confuse Congress more than once, since it risks being even more than that of the F-35. Kendall mentioned a price tag of hundreds of millions of dollars for a single NGAD aircraft, which is closer to the $143 million Raptor than to the $80 million Lightning II. Engines, unmanned versions, AI, sensors, and other chips are wonderful, but what about the hypersonic missiles? Against the backdrop of the growing arsenal of hypersonic weapons from its main opponents, China and Russia, the United States intends to make the NGAD the most fanged aircraft possible. Among the arsenal of the future fighter, we will almost certainly see the AIM-260 Joint Advanced Tactical Missile, JATM. Fresh missiles from Lockheed Martin with a maximum speed of Mach 5, which they intend to roll out before the end of 2023, replacing the AIM-120 Advanced Medium-Range Air-to-Air Missile. These will also become the main opponent against the Chinese PL-15 long-range air-to-air missiles and will help restore the U.S. monopoly on the first shot, first kill principle. JATM's neighbor under NGAD could be the long-range engagement weapon, LREBU, another potential successor to Raytheon's AMRAAM, which is a larger missile whose primary purpose is to destroy enemy airborne warning systems, tankers, and bombers at long ranges. In addition to the LRU, Raytheon also introduced the Peregrine concept, which combines AMRAAM capabilities with longer range in a fairly small package. And let's not forget about the Modular Advanced Missile, MAM, the successor to the AIM-9X melee missiles, equipped with stackable propulsion units and interchangeable seekers. But the most intriguing weapons of the sixth generation of American fighters may be combat lasers, on which many millions have been spent in the last 10 years, and of course, hypersonic missiles. First of all, we are talking about the Hypersonic Attack Cruise Missile, JCM, an air-launched hypersonic cruise missile from Raytheon and Northrop Grumman, with an operating range of 1,000 miles and a maximum speed of Mach 7, 5,300 mph, which is the successor to the hypersonic air-breathing weapon concept and Southern Cross Integrated Flight Research Experiment. or SCI-fire programs. Previously, this place was marked by AGM-183 Air-Launched Rapid Response Weapon, ARRW, from Lockheed, which reaches speeds of up to Mach 8. However, in March 2023, its development program was cancelled. Generally speaking, there's currently no single solution to the hypersonic missiles problem. However, the buildup of new technologies and strategies aimed at maximizing the effective use of existing military technologies will reap rich rewards. For example, a contract to continue development of Boeing's MQ-25 Stingray autonomous fuel tankers could greatly increase the operational range of 5th and 6th generation carrier-based fighters, allowing them to be based far out of the range of enemy missiles. The previously mentioned lasers can be another lifeline, given that instead of launching missiles to approach a target at supersonic speed, lasers travel at the speed of light, which is 186,282 miles per second versus a measly 3,800 miles per hour for missiles. And who knows how many other life hacks are hidden up the sleeves of the US Air Force and Navy, known only to Congress. What kind of antidote do you think NGAD can use to counter the Chinese hypersonic systems? Share your guesses in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell for more content like today's. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.